Chicago, the trap. Look at the shape of the buildings. You ever seen it up this high? Never thought about it like that. Look how one building will go straight, vertical. The next one will go inline on one whole block. It seems like an actual trap. Trap people and keep them contained in one location. Or maybe it's not a trap. It's just the way they made the buildings. My guess, most people would think it's just coincidence. The architects, they just like building buildings and just zigzag them anywhere. It's just a design, that's all. Don't mind that it's near a train track, where if you go to the right side of the building, there's really nothing there but trains. You go north of the building, there's really nothing there but trains. You go south of the buildings, nothing but trains. It's in the corner of the city. A corner. One way in, and it's one way out. That one way in opens you up to the rest of Chicago. Chicago. That's the city. The windy city. Murderous city. A dark city. Parts that's unknown. Parts that's taken over by gangs, thugs, and death. Many of these boys grow up fatherless. No hope, just dope. Knocking bodies out one at a time, like competition. How many you got? I got 2, and I got 3. I'm up 5. Human life ain't nothing but a score. Later on, during the years, human life became nothing but something to smoke. Who you smoking on? Von, Big Mike? They just a little blemish of so many stories that goes on in Chicago. 2 murderous young boys on a hunt every night. Even in King Von's music, he said he did drugs before school. So just imagine, you can't even get on a school bus in peace without being shot down and cut up in pieces at the morgue. They just a murderous duo. In every urban city, everybody got the juice. Until your juice get drank by a nigga that's more thirsty than you. Gotta watch your P's and Q's, watch the corner. Peep the scene. Killers always outside, stacking bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Better run, or you can hold it down. Test the competition. Every night is a risk. Every night you're risking your life. Better shoot back Them gunners coming, man. That's their career. That's the way the hood work. What city most murderous? Who got the most power? Who gonna protect their own? Man, make sure your boys stand by you. They gonna go to your funeral. All you gonna get is a flower and a rest in peace shirt, 2 bullets in your head, just for repping the block. Welcome to Chicago.
Big Mike, an O-Block original and the older brother of Wooski. Big Mike's name would be cemented in Chicago drill history and made infamous by one of Chicago's most notorious legends, King Vaughn. The self-proclaimed demon, whose name is now associated with being a serial killer, was only 19 years old when he was officially charged with murder. May 29th, 2014. In Chicago's Inglewood neighborhood, there was a birthday party for 20-year-old LaVaughn Everhart, who was more commonly known as CJ. King Vaughn was in attendance, as Vaughn and CJ were both from Killerwood and could be seen in multiple pictures together. According to a witness statement by Lamenda Jones, CJ's mother, she tells Chicago detectives she saw Vaughn standing near the front gate of her house, looking at 3 guys on her porch like something wasn't right. She told him, "Don't start no mess in my house," meaning don't start gangbanging at her house, because she knew Vaughn was a member of a gang and the people on the porch were members of different gangs. She told the detective King Vaughn smiled as he replied, "I'm not on that." As CJ's mom went back inside, Vaughn would leave the party. CJ's mom was cooking for about 15 minutes before gunfire erupted. Making her way outside, she observed a young man who'd been shot in the head laying face down in the grass. She saw another man crawling across the street, bleeding everywhere. Paramedics arrived on scene at 6:15 p.m., finding the man who'd been crawling with a gunshot to his face and another gunshot to his leg. He was identified by police as Marquise Carpenter, a gangster disciple from Jarrow City who was transported to Stroger Hospital from the scene. A second victim, Timothy Robinson, was shot in the foot and able to transport himself to St. Bernard Hospital. The third victim, identified as 19-year-old Malcolm Stuckey, was pronounced dead at the scene. His body laid face down in the grass, and an autopsy would report a .40 caliber bullet was fired into his right ear, traveling through his neck before exiting 2 inches below his left ear. Another bullet would enter his back thigh and 2 more into his buttocks. Multiple .40 caliber shell casings would be left at the scene, along with a 9mm handgun loaded with 10 rounds. July 30th, 3 weeks after the party, Chicago Police Tactical Team would take Big Mike into custody within Parkway Gardens, aka O-Block. He'd be transported to the area central office and placed inside of an interview room. Waiving his rights, Big Mike was shown a witness statement and denied any participation at the party. But as time went on, Big Mike would tell a crazy story to detectives. Jasmine Mitchell called Mike, saying Vaughn needed him as muscle for backup. Vaughn got on the phone saying him and Jasmine were at the party when other guys started looking hard and whispering to each other. Vaughn wanted to go back, this time with Big Mike. Mike told detectives he was picked up only 10 minutes after the call. Jasmine was driving her grandfather's silver Oldsmobile when Mike got into the front seat as Vaughn sat in the back. Vaughn started telling him what happened when Vaughn asked him if he was decent. Mike told detectives Vaughn meant was he armed, and Mike told him he had a Glock 40 with 15 to 16 rounds. That's when Vaughn showed him his gun. Mike told detectives they drove back to where the party was at when Vaughn made a call asking if those guys were still out front. The person on the phone told Vaughn not to come because one of the guys had a gun, but Vaughn would reply back saying, "That's okay, we got 2 guns," and he hung up the call. Vaughn and Big Mike exited the vehicle and walked through a vacant lot to LaSalle Street before cutting through a gangway. Mike would tell detectives Vaughn was in the lead while Mike followed, saying neither one of them attempted to conceal their face. As they got to the end of the gangway, Big Mike saw a black male with long dreads wearing an orange shirt. Mike told detectives he later learned from Vaughn it was a man named Tim. Mike was staring as Tim stared back before he turned and ran. Mike told detectives that's when Vaughn chased him to the front of the house and opened fire. By the time Mike made it to the front of the house, he saw one victim already laying face down in the grass. Mike saw Vaughn shooting at another guy yelling, "Why you running?" Mike would admit to detectives that's when he started shooting at Tim, firing 15 to 16 shots. Mike told detectives he knew he shot him because he saw him stumbling as he ran. With his gun now empty, Mike turned and ran down the gangway while he could still hear Vaughn firing. Vaughn then came up behind him and eventually down the alley. Mike told detectives he watched King Vaughn run 2 houses over and fire 2 more shots at the man that laid in the vacant lot. Mike could see the victim was bleeding from the mouth. That's when they ran back to the car while Jasmine struggled to unlock the car doors. Mike told detectives he yelled at her for locking the doors and would eventually throw his gun in Lake Michigan. He then said he didn't know any of the individuals at the scene. The state attorney's office would charge Big Mike with 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 attempted murders. King Vaughn was already in prison on a parole violation, and the day after Big Mike was charged, Vaughn would be transferred from prison to the interview room. King Vaughn waived his rights and denied any knowledge of the incident. Vaughn denied knowing Jasmine and Big Mike, but said he knew CJ from grade school and denied being at the birthday party. Shown photos of Jasmine and Mike, Vaughn once again denied knowing them. Marquise Carpenter identified King Vaughn as the person that shot him in the leg and face. He told detectives him and a friend went over to the house to celebrate CJ's birthday. Shortly after, a female and King Vaughn arrived in a silver car. While sitting on the porch, he saw Vaughn having a conversation at the front of the house when Vaughn went to the car, put a gun in his front pocket, and placed his shirt over it. Vaughn and CJ went into the basement of the home, and Marquise overheard Vaughn say, "What you doing hanging with these op-ass?" Marquise told detectives he's a gangster disciple, and later found out Vaughn was a black disciple. Vaughn would stay in the basement for around 5 minutes before leaving, and that's when Malcolm Stuckey arrived. They were gonna play basketball at a park when Marquise noticed all the small kids were being called inside of the house. That's when CJ appeared at the basement door, telling them to come to him. Malcolm was by the front, lighting a blunt, when Marquise heard Tim say, "There go them." Marquise then saw Vaughn in the gangway with a black hoodie pulled tight around his face. He saw a black handgun in his hand and another person behind him, so they started running. That's when gunfire erupted. He ran to a vacant lot where he was shot in the leg but still made his way into an alley. That's when he saw Vaughn at the other end of the alley, and he ran again, looking back to see Vaughn aiming the gun at him when Vaughn fired twice and he was shot in the face. Marquise hit the ground, telling detectives he had a 9mm handgun in his back pocket, but thinks it fell out at this time. He'd get back up, running across the street until police arrived. King Vaughn's friend, CJ, would be interviewed by detectives multiple times. He told detectives at the party someone told him Vaughn called saying he was coming back after leaving. CJ told him to call Vaughn again and tell him not to come. The person would make the call telling Vaughn there was children outside, but Vaughn would say, "I'm coming back. Get the children in the house." CJ went to warn the others on the porch, but before he could, the gunfire erupted. The man who called King Vaughn would voluntarily do an interview with police, saying he told Vaughn days after the shooting he was bogus for shooting people while CJ's family was out there. Vaughn would reply back saying, "They going to come after me now?" Vaughn would be officially charged with first-degree murder and 2 attempted murders after being identified by multiple people, including his friend CJ and his co-defendant Big Mike. In fact, nobody gave a better description than Big Mike, who claimed to see Vaughn start shooting, and by the time Mike made it to the front of the house, Malcolm Stuckey was already dead, implying Vaughn killed him. Mike would then say he saw Vaughn firing at the second victim, who'd later say Vaughn shot him in the face and leg. The only person Mike would admit the shooting was Tim, who was only shot in the foot and was the least wounded victim. Everything else was put on Vaughn. August 13th, 2017. LaVaughn Everhart, or CJ, was standing outside at 6:52 in the morning when a black vehicle approached. A man in a black hooded sweatshirt exited the vehicle, opened fire, and struck CJ twice in the chest. 40 minutes later, CJ would be pronounced dead at the hospital. King Vaughn would be acquitted at trial on all charges in December of 2017 after spending over 3 years in the Cook County Jail. The reason being, Big Mike recanted his statement and refused to testify against Vaughn at trial. Big Mike would also be acquitted of murdering Malcolm and shooting Marquise, which he originally placed on Vaughn. But Mike would be convicted of shooting Timothy in the foot, which he admitted to. For that, he'd receive a 28-year prison sentence for aggravated battery with the firearm. Vaughn would mention Big Mike in a song titled "What's Next?"
A nigga told on me before he got a longer sentence.
A nigga told on me before he got a longer sentence.
I think they gave him 28, he'd rather talk than listen.
I think they gave him 2080, rather talk than listen.
Bitch was the only one that told they killed the other witness.
Bitch was the only one that told they killed the other witness.
Now, Big Mike would appeal his conviction and be released in 2023, making his first appearance on DJU. Not shying away from any question, Big Mike would claim he didn't entirely snitch, but instead was willing to take a chance that Vaughn wasn't. Big Mike wanted to claim self-defense, stating the victims opened fire on him first, to which he returned fire. But apparently DJU is the only place Mike said this. Not once in Mike's appeal did it mention self-defense, and not once in his police interrogation did it mention self-defense. He flat out just told the crazy story of Vaughn calling him for backup, Vaughn popping off the triple shooting, Vaughn dropping Malcolm before dropping Marquise, and Vaughn firing 2 more times at Marquise laying in the lot. Decided to go with King Vaughn, admitted to participating in the shooting, and when it came to it, told everything that happened to police, which would be the definition of snitching that most can agree on. What Big Mike's appeal did highlight was how the police broke him. According to the appeal, Mike was held in the interrogation room for over 30 hours and repeatedly questioned by several detectives. They tell Mike to minimize his role by incriminating Vaughn before Vaughn incriminates him. They implied if Mike spoke with them, the courts would consider his cooperation while determining a more lenient sentence. He'd be given McDonald's and cigarettes by detectives trying to make him comfortable, but they'd also sit inches away from him or stand over him yelling profanities and threatening him. These tactics would lead to Big Mike's confession, but also his appeal, because law enforcement obtained his statements through police coercion. But that part of his appeal would be denied as the courts found his statements to be voluntary. Big Mike's appeal win came from the courts reducing his charge of aggravated battery with a firearm to aggravated discharging of a firearm for shooting at Tim. The lesser charge would result in a lesser sentence and therefore his release. So while Big Mike snitched on Vaughn, Mike still had nothing but respect for Vaughn and never spoke down on him during his interview. And the story between the two is just another crazy story out of the city of Chicago.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room when it comes to your story.
Right,
And that's the night Malcolm Stuckey was killed,
right.
May 29th, 2014.
I don't know nothing about dates. You
Okay.
feel me?
On 57th and the South?
That's what they say.
Okay.
All they say.
Okay, so speaking upon Malcolm Stuckey, was he an innocent bystander the way the news made him out to be, or was he like a rival gang member?
I mean, shit, he was banging, but you know, some niggas be having one foot in the streets and one foot out the street.
Okay.
Like you got the porch, you got the sidewalk, then you got the streets. He should have stayed his ass on the porch. You know what I'm saying? You hanging with niggas and shit like that. And shit be happening, man. It's ugly out here.
Yeah.
You gotta be on point at all time. And you gotta watch what you say to niggas, like, cause you gonna play that role like you tough or something like that. Shit, what you expect?
So can you tell us what happened on that day?
I really don't want to go too much in it. I don't want the fear to try to pick this shit up and try to give. But you know what I'm saying, some shit.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, cause I don't want the fear to try to give you for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like the state can't pick it up no more, but the feds can.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To try to indict me on that shit, but basically, you know, a nigga ended up losing his life. Shit. You feel me?
Okay.
Me and bro got charged with the murder and shit. Yeah. You know?
Okay. Now the reason why we all interested in this story is because no one has ever been able to like tell us a story about going on a drill with King Von. You know what I'm saying? And when we read through the reports, we read that King Von was like really on that. You feel me? It's reported that he had, not only was Malcolm Stuckey shot, but there was a couple other guys that were shot during that time.
They were.
One of them got shot in the face. He survived. So when we listen to King Von songs and we listen to these interviews and we gather all these different type of reactions about him, with being his right hand man at one point,
Right.
is it safe to say King Von was really like that?
Yeah, everybody and their mama know that boy was really like that. Anybody that tried to downplay it is a motherfucking lie. Like, truly, like, the shit he be talking about in them songs, he really was doing that shit, man. Like, a lot of these rappers out here right now, I ain't gonna put no names on them, but a lot of these niggas, they know who the fuck they is. A lot of these niggas from this city that rap about that shit,
Yeah.
they not doing none of that shit they rapping about. I can honestly say he one of the most genuine rappers, you know what I'm saying? Cause I listen to his shit, you know what I'm saying? He one of the most genuine rappers. He talk about shit that he really was doing. And I know he was doing it because I was there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I watched him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched who he became, watched what he was doing and shit like that. Like, that nigga really was doing that shit he was talking about in them songs. These other niggas, they flawed, and that's all cap.
Yeah.
Real cap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about, I seen some shit, y'all talking about who in the top 5 type shit. Like, niggas who they put in that top 5, maybe, like, they just got a name, that's all. You know what I'm saying? Cause they be murders and shit. Everybody thinking like, oh yeah, he was that.
Right.
No, he wasn't.
You talking about top 5 rappers or what?
Top 5 killers in Chicago.
Okay.
I seen some shit on Instagram and shit.
Right.
And when I was looking at it, I'm like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Dude, that's a fucking donkey.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, since we can't talk about what happened that night because the feds, might pick it
Right.
up. Because you already did your time for this
Yeah.
crime, right?
But that state, you know what I'm saying? Like, the feds, how they work, I don't want them to wrestle me into no RICO with them niggas.
Sure.
Because I ain't involved with none of that shit
For
no
sure.
more. I'm a civilian.
Now, we moving forward. What I want to ask next is, like, you got arrested for this a couple months later after it happened?
Yeah, it was like May, June, July. I got arrested in July.
Right. How did they wrap you up? How did they come, what made them come get you?
So, whole time, I ain't gonna put nobody's names out there or whatever, but whole time, you know what I'm saying, I was dealing with this little bitch who was connected to bro. And she had called my phone and shit. I was put up somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Cause, was doing too much shit out there in the hood and shit. So I like to go be able to just chill and not have to worry about shit like how I do when I'm in the hood. So I was chilling, you know what I'm saying, at one of my little ladies' cribs or whatever, and you know what I'm saying, the little bitch had called me and shit, and she was like, what you doing? I'm like, shit, what's up? She like, man, I just left the police station. I'm like, what you mean you just left the police station? She like, shit, they just showed me a picture of you and shit. It was talking about you was involved with a murder on 57 of the South. So I'm like, what the fuck you mean they showed you a picture of me and told you that I was involved in a murder? Like, these fucking police out here really don't know me like that. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And she like, well, they got a picture of you leaving the scene of the crime. Whole time in my mind, I'm knowing ain't no cameras over there. So how the fuck you got me leaving the scene of the crime? So I was like, man, they ain't got me. That's somebody else. I don't know who y'all talking about. So she like, I just wanted to let you know, your name got brought up and shit. I'm like, my name got brought up. That means somebody brought up my name. Like, somebody telling lies. So at this point, I'm knowing what's going on. She sitting in the police station and got me on speakerphone and, the detectives and shit right there and shit. So I was like, man, I ain't did shit. I don't know shit, man. I don't know what you're talking about. And I hung up. And then she called me from a different number. From one of them apps or whatever where you can call people and it's another number pop up and shit. She called me from that number. She was talking about some, yeah, I'm glad you ain't say nothing. You walk it down, but they were trying to get me to get you to implicate yourself and shit like that. And I'm like, shit, how they even know my name, bro? Like, how my name even come up, period. You feel me? And she was like, I don't know who out the band. I'm like, so why you in the police station? How they even know about you? You feel me? And I'm like, yeah, you gave my name up. And I hung up on, you know. That's really how I got wrapped up in the situation. You feel me? Because she gave up my name and shit. And then, you know, a few more people that was connected to the nigga gave up my name. You know what I'm saying? Like, the shit felt like a setup from the jump.
Okay.
Because he was already booked, you feel me, on unrelated charges. But it was like, why all of y'all say my name for? Like, and y'all try to like downplay it and shit too. Like, what the f? So then I'm thinking like, man, this all his people, like they trying to make it seem like it was me. Oh, I know what they doing. They trying to get him off. Put all the weight on me, get him off. So I could take the rap for this shit. That's what they was doing though.
Okay.
So I peeped it before it, you know, why it was going on and shit. Especially when the lawyers came and started like showing me them, you know, recording and shit. I'm like, yeah, look at his bitch ass up in, you know. Like, yeah, he wasn't gonna say nothing about none of his people though. He feel these people that's related to him, you know.
So you felt like it was so you felt like it was people telling on you in regards to the murder. So that's what led you to telling on King Von?
It wasn't even that. It like niggas steady seeing like I told on him. Like everybody needs to just dial that back a little bit. Like you gotta know like what me and bro talked about, what we was on and shit like that. Like he wanted to choose his own path. By me knowing what I was up against and shit, I was choosing my own path. You feel me? Like, yeah, I shot them bitch ass niggas. You feel me? They shot at me first type shit. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't on that. You know what I'm saying? So it came like, it was a riff at first. But then it was like, this what we on. You know what I'm saying? This what me and him talked about. Right. All that shit other motherfuckers talking about and shit like that. Like y'all see what I didn't put in my appeal. You know what I'm saying? Y'all see what I put in my appeal. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all don't got my discovery. Y'all don't got none of the shit that was going on. Y'all don't got none of them, you know, shorty them statement. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't got none of that shit. So it's like I put what I wanted to put in up. You know what I'm saying? Like I took bits and pieces and said certain shit, which I really ain't even really do my appeal. I paid a nigga in the joint to do it. You know, like 500. I think I gave him 500-600 or some shit like that. Shit, wifey paid for that shit, but paid the nigga in, you know, he filed the appeal and shit like that. But the shit that he was putting in there was like making sense and shit. Like, I ain't do that shit. Dude did that shit. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It was even better that, you know, I don't like speaking on dead niggas, but it was even better that shit. He was deceased. You know what I'm saying? For me to be able to get back, because as soon as he died, that's when my shit came right through. Like, they like, all right, we gonna go on here and we gonna grant this shit. But at the same time, like, people don't even understand, like, the shit, like, me and bro was talking about, the shit me and bro was doing, the shit we was plotting, shit like that. Like, I was plotting my own little lane, you feel me? Yeah, I pop dude ass, you know what I'm saying? I smoke dude ass, but they shot at me first type shit. And he ain't like that shit, you know what I'm saying? And then when the song came out from Lil Bro, that's when it really got hectic. You know what I'm saying?
Why he told?
Huh?
Why he told?
No, I ain't talking about that.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? That's when he got out. I'm talking about when we used to be a book. You know what I'm saying? But Why He Told is a hit. I actually like that song.
So what song you talking about?
I'm talking about when Wooski dropped Computer.
Oh, okay.
So it caused like a rift between me and the hood and shit. So now, basically everybody was looking for a way to oust me from the hood because I was a household name on their block.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for you to get my brother, you gotta outcast me. So that's when, you know, he got out and all that shit started coming out. You know what I'm saying? I told him and shit. I ain't get no fuck about none of that shit.
So let me ask you this though. I know I just heard you talking about the appeal, but you had already kind of like gave statements even like in the interrogation
Right.
interview room, right? In the beginning.
Right. This is what it was. Once I got presented with what was going on and what it was, I knew the best way for me to get up out that. Well, I didn't know. I thought the best way for me to get up out that shit was just telling them like shit. Them niggas shot at me first. That's what happened type shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And basically shit, one thing led to another shit. And it was over with.
So how was your jail time? You know, did the COs or other inmates give you troubles? You know, knowing
Who, me?
yeah.
Man, you better stop playing, man. I was in Division 9 the whole time I was in Cook County Jail. Like any nigga will tell you, ain't no nigga play with me. Don't nobody play with me. Like everybody thought I was gonna be gone. This what's going on right now, man. Everybody thought I was gonna be gone. I was gonna do all that time. When I came home, I was gonna be an old man. So I wasn't gonna be able to do shit. But now that I'm home, niggas scared. Because they know how I am. Like you was playing with me, you was saying little shit, y'all was doing little shit to my little brother and shit, you know what I'm saying? Y'all was getting into shootouts or whatever. But now it's like, y'all thought I wasn't gonna come home? Fucking goofies. But at the same time, I didn't even think I was gonna come home with those shit. I was content with my 28 years.
I'm gonna say you was looking at 28.
I was content with that shit, you feel me? I was one of them niggas, I wasn't in there crying, you feel me? It took, you know, my lady to come back in my life and shit, and she, you know what I'm saying, she gave me that little extra push that I needed, and I started fighting hard for that shit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But in Cook County Jail, like I never once hear, like I was literally beating the fuck out them niggas in there. Every single day. Everybody ran to me. Niggas who, like Vaughn, he'll fight anybody. I'm not saying that he would. But niggas who was bigger than him, he was gonna come get me. In that county jail. I ain't never been a PC nigga. None of that shit. I wasn't hiding from no niggas. None of that shit. I was in there f***ing them niggas up, man. Going crazy. Ain't nobody play with me, man. On the streets, niggas wasn't even playing with me. So why would they play with me in Division 9? I was in the trenches in that bitch. Knives everywhere. I'd have been around them. Ain't nobody never not once played with me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Not once.
So can you tell us, Lord, like how did the climate change when you was in jail and King Von had got out and blew up to be a superstar rapper?
Well, it really ain't changed for me. Like, I mean, it changed because you had a lot of fan niggas. You know what I'm saying? Everybody like, oh yeah, King Von, you rapping, bro. Oh yeah, y'all hot now and all this. I'm just looking at one thing I hate, man. I hate a dick rider, bro.
Right.
Like I hate fan niggas. You know what I'm saying? Fan females, that's different. But if you a fan nigga, like you could be a fan nigga. But like when you like overly excited, like you just going over crazy and shit like a fucking woman, like be cool, man. Your ass tweaking, like watch out. You know what I'm saying? But when I started hearing about it and shit, you know what I'm saying, I usually just be like, yeah, he went out there and got hot. Like that little nigga went crazy when he went home. You know what I'm saying? Like I was hearing the music and shit, like yeah, it's busting. You know what I'm saying? He's doing this thing. And at this time, before Why He Told and all that shit came out, I was still talking to the nigga.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I used to call this man, I swear to God, bro, every fucking day when he got out. Every day, bro. Like, every day. From when he was out in Iowa doing this thing, before he started doing music, from when he first started going to the A and kicking it with Lil Durk and shit. You know what I'm saying? I used to talk to this man all the fucking time, bro. Like all the time.
Yeah. Since we mentioned this song a couple times, I just want to ask about it. The song "Why He Told."
Like that's a cold ass song.
That song about you?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Everybody know that. You know, he put it out there. He, made a song about it. It's hot. You know what I'm saying?
It's a real thought out, wrote out song. Like you could tell he was in his feelings about
he
this
was
song.
hurt. He was in his feelings and shit. And, I was one of the I still am. I was one of the niggas that, he looked up to and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he learned all this shit from me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was teaching them niggas and shit. So, the route that I decided to take and shit like that, he didn't, fuck with it and shit. And it was the easy way for him to get money anyway. So if he go at Wooski and he go at his big brother, he gonna get hot. Everybody know how Vaughn got hot. He got hot by talking about my brother and talking about me.
Yeah, he definitely had a lot of it's a lot of diss lines about yourself. It's a lot of diss lines about your brother.
Right. So all that shit, everybody want to hear that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who don't want to hear about people that dissing Wooski? You know what I'm saying? And then nigga who dissing his big brother. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like, of course you gonna get hot off that. And shit, he talented. I'll get to the nigga.
So when you say "Why He Told" it's a hot song, you sound like you like it. Like what was your reaction when you first heard it?
It was like when I first heard it, I heard a little snippet while I was locked up and shit. I'm listening to it and shit. And at first, I ain't hear the whole song, so I'm like, man, that song ain't about me. I'm like, yeah, he went crazy on that little part that I heard and shit. And then when I came home and shit, you know what I'm saying? I was just going through it, Basically, I was doing my homework. I've been doing my homework on niggas, the songs, the music, whatever like that. But I had came across the song and shit, and I started listening to it and shit. I was like, yeah,
it's definitely about me, right?
He spazzed on this song. This fucking song definitely about me type shit. You know what I'm saying? So my OG man was listening to it and shit like that. Bro was listening to it and shit. And everybody like, yeah, that's a raw ass song. But he talking about your ass. And I ain't get mad like people thought I was gonna get mad. You know what I'm saying? Everybody thought that I was gonna bug up. I seen all the YouTube. Oh yeah, Big Mike finna come home and be Wooski them. He finna be STL. Big Mike finna come home. Y'all know he a loose cannon. He finna go shoot Parkway up. The Big Mike this, the Big Mike that.
Right.
Like, keep talking about me. Keep saying my name.
you definitely seem content with yourself. So you never like, do you ever regret, you know what I'm saying, speaking upon
I never
the case?
regret making my self-defense statement because I felt like it was helping me. You feel me? So I never regretted shit. Like I never looked back on it and said if I'd have did this, no. Because I would have looked back on it and said I would have did this, I would have been doing 100 more years. Both our eyes would have been doing 100 years. And people was trying to give us 71. Plus some other shit. We would have had 100 years. Y'all wouldn't know who King Von was today.